Hello. I thought it'd be really nice to take some of you guys on a bit of a journey around my local park to give me sort of something to do really when I'm out and about. As a naturalist, I take people out and about in the woods, out in the green pastures, wherever we want really, and we look at plants and trees and animals and how all of that sort of coexists together. So this is going to be a sort of a video of a journey through my local park, which is Nonsuch Park, and Warren Farm. I'm currently in Warren Farm, and looking at some sort of plants and stuff that they're mainly for the people that can't get out at the moment. So let's have a look. So I've just stopped at something because I just found it. I'm going to turn the camera around and talk to you about it hopefully. So this plant here, this very elegant plant, is called King Solomon, and it's named after the wisdom of King Solomon because this is a bit of a cure-all herb. Really pretty, really nice, grows quite tall. You're going to have a train go past in a second, so we'll just wait for that. And there's another one down here which is beautiful. Maybe some more of this later. This is wood forget-me-nots. So we've got them in here, really pretty little plants. I can't quite focus on them. Try and focus on them for you. There we go, wood forget-me-nots. And that brings us up to cow parsley. So that's this one here. That is cow parsley. Sort of an umbel in the umbel family. It's got these big umbrella type flower clusters on it. And there we go. Let's keep going, have a little look. Got some hazel. Some wild cherry here. So we've got the cherry here. Cherry's a bit of a weed, really. It sort of self-seeds by rhizomes under the ground. So it actually spreads. I'll try and get you this in the image. There you go. You've got the first cherry for the year. So cherry blossom's lovely. It is quite widespread in where we are at the moment. I'm going to keep going through and see what we can find. We've got all our ivy. Ivy's lovely, and a lot of people think that ivy, as it grows up the tree, chokes the tree and sort of does it some damage, but it doesn't actually. It doesn't do any damage to the tree whatsoever. The difficult thing about ivy is that ivy on deciduous trees, so trees that lose their leaves, like this cherry that's up there, that loses their leaves, when we get winter storms, the leaves of the ivy works as a bit of a sail, and that's why a lot of trees will fall down, especially dead ones that are covered in ivy. It's because of the ivy. So let's go through this undergrowth here. There we go, find our way through and see what we've got. Lots of hazel. There's another train coming. The only thing about Warren Farm is nice and quiet until we get a train. Oh, this is cool. You see this quite a lot. This here, you always think that that's like damage from children or whatever else. It's actually squirrels. So what happens is a squirrel runs along here and starts to eat away at the bark. Not just to sharpen its teeth, but also release some of the sap that's in there, so it can drink it and feed on sort of the sugars that are in it. So that's what's caused that. Unfortunately, it means the tree then that limb then dies as a result of it. There's a little oak tree that's going on. It's an English oak. Some flowers there, some leaves, I mean, even. We've got hawthorn. There you go. Hawthorn's a great plant. This one's associated with purification. The wood of the hawthorn burns really hot. If you had two fires next to each other, one was hawthorn and one was ash, for example, you could tell the difference of the wood based on the heat that's coming off of it. And actually these tender young shoots, these ones here, are actually edible. They're not the nicest thing in the world. They're not unpleasant. So yeah, hawthorn's associated with purification because the wood burns so hot, and it was considered unlucky to bring it indoors because it was believed that it carried the scent of death. So let's keep going through the woods here, see what we can find. I'm going to cut in some photos. Over the years I've taken a few photos on this site, and butterflies and moths and things like that. I'll put a few of them in, and I'll put a little transcript of those on my website. So if you want to find out more about those ones, you can go and read that on the website, obviously for free. So let's keep going through. Oh, it's a broadleaf oak. That's a nice one. I'm going to see if I can find you another oak leaf. There's usually more than one around. No, but if I put my finger next to it, you can see the size of that one. I'll try and find you another one, and we will go and put my finger on that one. So you can see the size of it. So there's more broadleaf oak there. What happens is you tick along, and when you become a naturalist, you seem to notice a lot of things that other people don't notice, and it makes a walk quite a long walk, but quite an enjoyable one, I think. This is quite interesting. This is a hazel coppice. So this is where at some point this site was used to cut down the hazel to use for wood, usually for making charcoal. What happens is they cut the hazel down at the base down there, and then each year it grows back and back and back, and this has not been cut for years and years, so this is really, really old. The hazel's really tall actually, so it's just an old coppicing area. Maybe belonged to one of the houses here or something similar to that. Cool, so we're going to go back on ourselves. I don't think you want to see the water treatment plant. That's going to come through. There's that broadleaf oak again. I'll try and find some more bits and pieces for you. There's lots and lots of plants about, but this is a nice one. This is one of my favourite weeds. This is goosegrass, or that sticky weed. You know, if you just stick it to yourself, it's actually edible. You can eat it. Not the nicest thing, but you can eat it. And its seeds, little round balls that you get, they are a good substitute for coffee. So when they're dry, you can grind them up, use them for coffee. Let's keep going through. Let's see what trees we've got here. We've got a little, it's either, I think it's a maple, so there must be another one around here somewhere. Oh, and right up here, I've just found an oak. So you can see the difference in size. My finger on the last one, finger on this one, the broadleaf versus the small one. So that was a broadleaf here. Here you go. There you go. The difference in size is quite dramatic. Over here, we've got yew trees. Now, yew trees are really, really good. There's lots of superstition involved around yew trees. That's these sort of weird and wonderful trees, the dark green trees here. Now, this is called the tree of life and the tree of death. And the tree of life part of it is that it can live for hundreds and thousands of years. And the Fortingale yew is the oldest yew that we know of. It's around 5,000 years old. And that's what this is. However, it's the tree of death, because everything on that tree is poisonous, except the flesh of the berries, but don't take the risk in eating them, because you're never quite sure. Everything on it's poisonous, and also, just a little fun fact, that Voldemort's wand, the original wand, was made from yew. Here we go, let's have a plant here. It's just a beech. Not that interesting. Nice plant, but all plants are nice. Not all plants are interesting. So we go through, just keep going through. More wood forget-me-nots. So just a little random walk through the woods here. Seeing what we can find. A dandelion there. Fantastic. A lot of people don't like them, but actually they're one of the first sources of nectar for emerging bees. So if you do have them, leave a little patch as long as you can. When the flowers die off, pick the flowers off, and they won't seed and spread anywhere in your garden. But they do the world of good to the insect population that emerge. It's a beech tree. So you remember a beech tree because the leaves look like a surfboard, and you find surfboards at the beach. So you remember that one. Let's keep going through. Okay, right, stinging nettles. Here we go, got stinging nettles. There is an article on the website about stinging nettles. And stinging nettles are fantastic things, and they're not stinging you at all if you stroke them from base to tip. But if you stroke them backwards, you get stung, and that's because all the hairs lay in that direction. You can make string from it. It's a great source of food. Make stinging nettle pesto. String is really good thing to make from it, and it's great for insects, and when it flowers, they love the pollen of it. And some butterflies, like the peacock butterfly, lay its eggs on the stinging nettles. So if you want to see some more of those pretty early peacock butterflies, leave some stinging nettles around, because chances are one of the peacock butterflies might have laid an egg on it. So let's keep going. Lots of cherry around here, lots and lots of cherry. Let's keep going. There we go. Some oak around here. And we've got ferns. I'll put a picture of fern in later, because ferns actually, as they unfurl, they represent the Fibonacci sequence. It'll make more sense later. The Fibonacci sequence is where it's the sum of the previous two parts. So look at the graphic I'll put up later, and that'll make a little bit more sense to you. There we go, we're going through. Coming to the end. What I'll do is we'll finish it in a minute, and see what photos I can add into this as well. But for those of you who can't get out, I really hope that you enjoy this little walk in a local park. And maybe if you want to know a bit more when we come out of lockdown, you can come on one of my guided walks, and we'll explore in a little bit more detail. Now, this is a cherry canker. This is it's a response to. It's a response to, try and focus on it. It's a response to an injury. So the branch has been cut off, and it leaks pus and sap. You can see actually a little bit more of it up here. So it's been. This is the sap of the thing. It looks a little bit like a resin, but it's actually just the sap sort of responding to the injury that it's had. And the injury is basically that's been cut off and probably bent and snapped a little bit. Yeah, another train. It's good to know the trains are running. Some more ivy, lots and lots of ivy. Ivy's great. Ivy, I'm a bit like dandelions. Dandelions are the first, one of the first plants to come out. Ivy's one of the last to flower, so actually cutting your ivy back too early does a lot of damage to the insect population. So if you've got a patch of ivy, let it flower, then cut it back when it starts to seed up, and that'll do them sort of the last little feed before they hibernate. That'll do them the world of good. That's a really mature ivy, and actually old ivies can be freestanding. So ivies like this one you can't quite see it, but it's big enough and it is freestanding, rather than being supported by a tree. This one is this horse chestnut. So this one it's brought over by the Romans. This is with sweet chestnut actually is what they brought over. This came along with it. It's been here so long, it's pretty much native. It's the one the conkers come from. This is the young little one, so squirrels probably bury the conker and come back to it, and not come back to it, sorry. Oh, holly tree. If I could find a holly tree, that'd be really good. So you can see that this holly actually is quite spiky. Now, not all hollies are spiky, and I challenge you when you go out to try and find a mature holly tree. If you look at the base of the tree, it'll be spiky, and as it gets higher and higher, it gets less spiky. That's because it doesn't need to produce spikes for it being predated by animals. So it doesn't produce the spikes necessary for sort of protection when it gets higher up or when it gets older, because it's mature enough to deal with it. I'm just going to go back round. So, like I said, if you want to know a bit more, check out the website. It's free. Enjoy it. Use all the articles, share them, do what you like with it. But most of all, enjoy it. So, cool. Thanks.